Our 7th wedding anniversary started with hope. I woke up smiling because I wanted to remind Emily why we had fallen in love. Things had felt different for almost a year, but I kept telling myself every marriage had difficult seasons. I believed love meant staying patient, even when life became cold. I spent the afternoon cooking her favorite meal. I placed candles on the table and arranged fresh roses beside her chair. Before looking in the mirror, I put on the navy suit she once touched with a smile. "You look so handsome in that suit," she had said years ago. I remembered those words and whispered, "Maybe tonight will bring us back." The clock reached 6, then 7, then 8. I picked up my phone and called. No answer. I called again. Still nothing. When she finally answered, her voice sounded irritated. "What is it, Ethan? I've been waiting for you. I'm still at work." "Emily, it's our anniversary." "I know. Are you almost done?" She sighed. "I'm busy. Stop calling every 10 minutes. I only called because I was worried." "You worry too much. When will you be home?" "I don't know." The line went silent before she added, "Just eat without me." Then she hung up. I stared at the phone. Something inside me whispered that her words were wrong. Emily had forgotten birthdays before, but never our anniversary. I grabbed the flowers anyway. If she's working late, I muttered, I'll surprise her. The drive to her office felt longer than usual. I kept inventing excuses for her. Maybe an emergency meeting. Maybe a difficult client. Maybe she wanted to finish work before celebrating. I walked into the building and smiled at the receptionist. "Hi, is Emily Carter still upstairs?" The receptionist frowned. "Emily, yes. She left hours ago." I blinked. "Left? Around 5. There must be a mistake." Before she could answer, another employee walked past. "Are you Emily's husband?" "Yes." He smiled without thinking. "I almost didn't recognize you. Emily and Ryan left together earlier." My heartbeat stopped. "Ryan Brooks?" "Yeah." I forced a weak smile. "Oh, They seemed excited." I thanked him and walked outside before my legs gave out. Ryan, the harmless college crush. The man Emily always laughed about. "He's ancient history," she used to tell me. I wanted to believe there had to be another explanation. Then I remembered something. Last month, Emily mentioned Ryan loved a small lakeside restaurant outside town. Without thinking, I got back into my car. The restaurant overlooked quiet water reflecting the evening lights. I parked far away and saw them through the window. Emily, Ryan, laughing, sharing dessert, leaning close enough that no married woman should. My chest tightened until breathing became painful. I stepped closer, but stopped behind a wooden fence when I heard Ryan speak. "You've been pretending for too long." Emily looked down. "I know." Ryan reached across the table and held her hand. "You deserve to be happy." She didn't pull away. Instead, she squeezed his fingers. Ryan smiled. "So, tell me honestly." He paused before asking softly, "Do you regret marrying Ethan?" Everything inside me froze. Emily stared at the lake for several seconds. Then she whispered the words that destroyed my world. "I loved Ethan once." She swallowed hard. "But every day, I wonder what my life would have been if I'd chosen you instead." Ryan smiled. "I'll fix that." Emily nodded. "I think. I want you to." The flowers slipped from my hand onto the ground. Neither of them heard them fall. Neither of them saw me standing there. But in that moment, the husband who had trusted without question disappeared forever. I walked back to my car without making a sound. My heart was broken. My marriage was already over. They just didn't know that I had finally seen the truth. I did not sleep after leaving the restaurant. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard Emily whisper, "I wonder what my life would have been if I'd chosen you instead." Those words echoed through my mind until sunrise. I kept asking myself the same question. Did I misunderstand? No. Was it only one dinner? No. My heart wanted excuses, but my instincts refused to believe them. Over the next few days, I stopped asking questions and started watching. Emily smiled at her phone more than she smiled at me. She turned her screen away whenever I entered the room. She began locking doors while taking calls. She suddenly needed passwords on devices she had never hidden before. Every little change felt connected. One evening she grabbed her purse. "I have another business trip." "When did they schedule it?" "This afternoon." "For how long?" "2 days." I forced a smile. "Drive safely." She kissed my cheek. You're the sweetest husband. The moment she left, I whispered, Then why are you lying to me? I hated becoming suspicious, but the truth kept finding me. 2 days later, my younger sister, Sophie Carter, visited unexpectedly. She looked at me for a long moment before speaking. Ethan, what happened? Nothing. Don't lie to me. I'm just tired. She crossed her arms. You haven't smiled once since I walked in. I'm fine. No, you're pretending. I stayed silent. She stepped closer. If Emily hurt you, tell me. She didn't. You couldn't even look me in the eyes when you answered. I looked away. Sophie sighed. I know you. I don't want to accuse her without proof. Then stop protecting a fantasy. What if I'm wrong? What if you're right? Her question stayed with me after she left. The next morning, Emily rushed out the door. I'm late. You forgot your coffee. I'll grab one later. She disappeared before I could answer. An hour later, I noticed her tablet lying on the kitchen counter. It was unlocked. I stared at it. No. I turned away. Then I remembered Ryan holding her hand. Slowly, I picked it up. The messaging app was already open. The newest conversation belonged to Ryan. My hand shook as I read. Ryan, did your husband believe the business trip story? Emily, of course. Ethan believes everything I say. Ryan, he's too nice. Emily, that's his biggest weakness. I swallowed hard and kept reading. Ryan, when will you finally leave him? Emily, soon. I'm waiting for the right moment. Ryan, then we'll start our real life. Emily, I can't wait. Another message appeared. Ryan, does he suspect anything? Emily, not even a little. Ryan added a laughing emoji. Emily replied with another one. I kept scrolling. Every message cut deeper. Ryan, your husband is paying the mortgage while we're planning vacations. Emily, don't remind me. I almost feel guilty. Ryan answered instantly. You'll get over it. Emily wrote back. I always do. My chest felt heavy. Months of conversations stretched across the screen. They joked about me. They mocked my trust. They counted the days until our divorce. They planned birthdays, holidays, and a future that never included me. I wanted to throw the tablet across the room. Instead, I took a slow breath. No, anger would help them. Patience would help me. I copied every message onto a secure drive. Every screenshot became another piece of evidence. When I finished, I placed the tablet exactly where Emily had left it. That afternoon, I called the only person I trusted completely. Daniel, are you free? For you? Always. I need legal advice. His voice became serious. What happened? My wife is having an affair. I'm sorry. I have proof. Come to my office. An hour later, I placed the copied messages in front of Daniel Foster. He read them quietly before looking at me. What are you going to do? I want them to suffer. He leaned back. Ethan, listen carefully. I'm listening. If you act while you're angry, you'll lose. So what do? You stay calm. They betrayed me. I know. I want justice. Then earn it. Ow! Daniel folded his hands. You stop thinking like a broken husband. And you start thinking like a man preparing for war. For the first time since my world collapsed, I nodded without hesitation. The grieving husband inside me took one final step backward. A patient strategist quietly stepped forward. Pretending everything was normal became my new routine. Every morning I smiled at Emily. Every evening I asked about her day. Every lie she told sounded smoother than the last. And every smile I gave felt heavier than the one before. Sometimes I caught myself remembering the man I used to be. I remembered our first date. You really think this little coffee shop is romantic? Emily had laughed. I couldn't afford anything better. I like honest men. I'll always be honest with you. She reached across the table. Then I'll always choose you. That promise had once meant everything. Now it meant nothing. One evening we sat across from each other at our dining table. Emily served dinner with a bright smile. I made your favorite pasta. It smells great. I thought we should spend more time together. I agree. She smiled again, but her phone vibrated beneath the table. I noticed her glance down. Her fingers moved without lifting the phone. She was texting someone while looking directly into my eyes. Everything okay? I asked. Of course. You seem distracted. Just work? You've been busy lately. You know how stressful things are. I do. She reached for my hand. I'm lucky to have such an understanding husband. I squeezed her fingers. I'm glad you feel that way. Inside, I wondered how many lies could fit inside one sentence. The next morning, Daniel called. I'd like you to meet someone. Who? A financial investigator. Can I trust her? I already do. An hour later, I entered Daniel's office. A woman stood beside his desk, holding several folders. Daniel smiled. Ethan, this is Grace Morgan. She extended her hand. It's nice to meet you. I wish it were under better circumstances. She nodded. Daniel explained enough for me to understand the situation. I took a seat. So, where do we begin? Grace opened one folder. First, we protect everything that's legally yours. I don't want to break any laws. You won't. I just don't want Emily taking what she doesn't deserve. That's exactly why I'm here. Daniel leaned forward. Grace specializes in financial investigations. Grace smiled politely. I follow paper trails. Can you really help me? Only if you're patient. I've learned patience the hard way. She nodded. Good. For the next hour, we reviewed my company records, investments, savings, and property documents. Grace asked careful questions. Who has access to these accounts? Only me. Has Emily ever handled company finances? No. Has Ryan Brooks ever worked with your business? Never. She made another note. I'd like permission to investigate him. You have it. 3 days later, Grace called. I found something. What is it? Ryan's company has serious financial problems. How serious? Much worse than public records suggest. Anything connecting him to Emily? Not directly, but there have been unusual money transfers between accounts linked to people around him. You think he's hiding something? I think he's desperate. After hanging up, I drove to meet my business partner, Michael Reed. We had worked together for years. As soon as I entered his office, he frowned. You look exhausted. I've had a rough week. I can tell. He poured 2 cups of coffee. I've been meaning to ask you something. What? Do you know Ryan Brooks? I nearly dropped my cup. What? He contacted me. When? Last week. What did he want? Michael shrugged. He asked strange questions. About what? Your company. My stomach tightened. What kind of questions? He wanted to know whether we plan to expand. What else? He asked about future investments. Did you answer? Nothing important. Did he explain why he was interested? He claimed he was curious about business opportunities. I slowly shook my head. That wasn't curiosity. Michael studied my face. Ethan, what's going on? I hesitated. My marriage isn't what you think it is. His expression softened. I'm sorry. I think Ryan wants more than my wife. You believe he's after your business too? I do now. Driving home, every conversation finally connected. Emily's lies. Ryan's questions. The hidden messages. The financial problems. None of it was random. Their relationship had started with old feelings, but it had grown into something greedier. I gripped the steering wheel tighter. I won't let them take everything. For weeks, I had only focused on my broken heart. Now I finally understood the real battle. Emily wanted to walk away with my future. Ryan wanted to profit from my success. They believed I was too trusting to notice. They were wrong. I looked at my reflection in the rearview mirror and spoke quietly. If you want to destroy my life, you'll have to watch me reclaim every piece of it first. That promise became stronger than my pain. The man who once lived only for love had finally learned how to fight. I became an actor inside my own marriage. Every morning I kissed Emily goodbye before she left for work. Every evening I welcomed her home with the same calm smile. She believed nothing had changed. Only I knew that every kind word I spoke hid another careful step toward protecting my future. One morning she smiled brightly. You're in a good mood. I've been sleeping better. I'm glad. What about you? I've been great. I'm happy to hear that. She kissed my cheek. I'll see you tonight. I'll be waiting. As soon as the front door closed, I picked up my phone. Daniel, she's gone. I'll meet you in 30 minutes. I'll be there. Inside Daniel's office, stacks of papers covered his desk. He pushed several folders toward me. Read every page. I nodded. What am I signing? Documents protecting your business. Will they hold up in court? They're completely legal. I don't want shortcuts. You won't need any. I signed each page carefully. Daniel smiled. Good. When does this become effective? Immediately. I let out a slow breath. One less thing to worry about. Later that afternoon, Grace joined us carrying another folder. I found more. What now? She opened the file. Ryan has been moving money through different accounts. Illegal. I can't prove that yet. Can you prove anything? I can prove he's hiding financial problems. Will that help? It will when the timing is right. I nodded. Keep digging. You have my word. The following day, I met Michael inside our office. He locked the conference room door before speaking. I changed every confidential password. Good. I also limited employee access. Did anyone complain? No. Has Ryan contacted you again? Mike sighed. Twice. What did he ask this time? He wanted details about your next investment. What did you tell him? Nothing useful. I smiled. Thank you. He looked directly at me. He's definitely after something. I know. That evening, Emily surprised me. Ryan is stopping by. I looked up. Ryan. He wants to discuss a business opportunity. For me? For both of us. I forced a relaxed smile. Sure. An hour later, Ryan walked through my front door carrying a bottle of wine. Ethan. Ryan. It's been too long. It has. Emily laughed. You two should work together someday. Ryan smiled. Maybe. We sat in the living room. Ryan looked around comfortably, almost like he belonged there. So, Ethan, business must be going well. It keeps me busy. I've heard you're expanding. We're considering options. What kind of options? I haven't decided yet. He leaned forward. Any new investors? Nothing public. Emily interrupted. Ryan has amazing business ideas. I'm sure he does. Ryan laughed. I'd love to hear your plans sometime. If they become public, you'll know. For 1 second, his smile disappeared. Then it returned. The conversation continued politely, but every question he asked confirmed what Grace and Michael had already suspected. He wanted information, not friendship. After they left together to grab dessert, I walked outside for fresh air. My elderly neighbor, Mrs. Eleanor Hayes, was watering her flowers. She smiled kindly. You look troubled. I've had better weeks. Marriage problems? I laughed quietly. Is it that obvious? She set down the watering can. My late husband taught me something. What was it? Revenge born from anger burns the victim first. I stayed silent. She continued. But justice built with patience lasts forever. I don't know if I'm patient enough. You've survived this long. I want them to understand what they've done. They will. How can you be so sure? Because people eventually become prisoners of their own choices. Her words settled inside me. For days I had imagined shouting, exposing, humiliating. Now I realized I wanted something greater. I wanted truth to defeat them without destroying me. That night I called Daniel. Everything is signed. Excellent. I called Grace. Any updates? The evidence is secure. I called Michael. The company is protected. Completely. I looked around the quiet house. Emily still believed I was the trusting husband she could fool forever. Ryan believed I was an easy target. Neither of them understood that every conversation, every document, every financial record, and every secret message was now safely stored exactly where it belonged. I no longer needed anger to guide me. Their own decisions would become the evidence against them. Their confidence would become their weakness. And when the perfect moment finally arrived, they would realize I had been smiling behind a mask while quietly building the future they never saw coming. The conversation I had expected for weeks finally arrived. Emily stood across from me in the living room with folded arms. We need to talk. I know. You do. I've been expecting this. She looked surprised for a moment before taking a deep breath. I'm leaving. I understand. She frowned. That's all you're going to say? What else should I say? I thought you'd argue. I don't want to force anyone to stay. She looked away. I owe you the truth. I reached into my pocket and quietly started the voice recorder on my phone. I'm listening. She sat down across from me. I cared about you. I know. I really did. I believed you. She sighed. But I never stopped thinking about Ryan. I remained silent. When we were younger, Ryan wasn't ready for commitment. I remember. So I married you. The words landed like cold steel. She continued. You were stable. I loved you. I know. But Ryan changed. In what way? He became the man I always wanted. And I didn't. She slowly shook her head. I'm sorry. I looked directly into her eyes. So you've been seeing him? Yes. For how long? Several months. You lied every day. I didn't know how to tell you. You always knew. She lowered her head. I suppose I did. I nodded slowly. What happens now? I want a divorce. Is that your final decision? Yes. No doubts. No. I won't beg. She looked almost disappointed. I expected more emotion. I've already cried enough. Silence filled the room. Finally, she whispered, I hope one day you'll forgive me. I hope one day you'll understand what your choices cost. She picked up her purse. I'll have my lawyer contact you. I'll be ready. After she walked out, I listened to the recording. Every confession was clear. Every lie had finally become evidence. An hour later, Daniel arrived. How did it go? She admitted everything. Did you record it? Every word. He smiled. Good. I also have something for you. He handed me a folder. What's this? The final asset protection documents. So everything is secure? Completely. What about the house? Protected. My company? Protected. My investments? Protected. I leaned back. She thinks she'll receive half. Daniel nodded. She'll soon discover reality. The next morning, Grace called. I finished investigating Ryan. What did you find? You were right. About what? His finances are collapsing. How bad? Worse than I expected. Explain. He owes more money than he can repay. And Emily knows? Not even close. What else? He convinced Emily to cover several expenses while pretending his business was growing. So he manipulated her too. Exactly. I smiled faintly. The man she chose has been using her. Grace answered quietly. Karma doesn't always arrive immediately, but it usually arrives. It does. That afternoon, my phone rang again. It was Emily. I've hired a lawyer. So have I. My attorney says we'll divide everything fairly. I hope you're satisfied. I will be. I guess we'll find out. She hesitated. Ryan says this process should be simple. I'm sure he does. She ended the call without another word. Later that evening, Daniel invited me to his office. We received the court's schedule. Already? Yes. He slid another paper across the desk. I read the name carefully. Judge Harold Bennett. Daniel nodded. He's experienced. What should I expect? The truth. Nothing else. If we stay patient, the facts will speak louder than emotions. I folded the paper carefully. I've waited this long. You only need to wait a little longer. As I left the office, I noticed Ryan standing beside Emily across the parking lot. He wrapped an arm around her shoulders. She laughed. He kissed her forehead. They looked happy. They looked victorious. Ryan noticed me and smiled confidently. Emily never even turned around. They walked toward his car without a single glance back. Months earlier, that sight would have shattered me. Now it only confirmed that my plan had worked perfectly. They believed love had defeated loyalty. They believed lies had defeated truth. They believed they were walking toward a better future together. Neither of them understood that every legal document had already been signed. Every message had been copied. Every confession had been recorded. Every financial secret had been uncovered. The courtroom would not be a place for anger. It would become the battlefield where truth replaced every lie they had built together. I watched their car disappear into the distance. Then I smiled for the first time since discovering the affair. Not because I had forgiven them. Not because the pain was gone. I smiled because they had finally made their choice. And without realizing it, they had stepped directly into the trap I had spent months building with patience instead of rage. Their victory had already become the beginning of their downfall.